I don't believe Mr. Oates stated his name for the record as well. Mr. Oates, just state your name for the record.
Paul Oates.
Thank you.
Where's Paul?
I think he might be too young for that, Your Honor.
Oh, is he? You're too young for that?
What happened?
He said, where is Hall? Where is Hall? H-A-L.
Are you talking about Hall and Oates? Come on now. Y'all know I love Hall and Oates. Come on now.
Well, he said, where is he? You didn't answer.
No, I couldn't hear him. It was a lot of chattering, chit-chattering going on. But I heard. I love Hall and Oates. I'm a big fan.
Yep.
Yeah, I am too, right? I am too. All right. When can you pay this, sir? With stipulation of probable cause, $105, sir.
What's up, court nerds? Time to get served. It's your boy Phil. Happy Friday, TGIT. It's time for time served. What's up, guys? Blast that comment. Let's get the chat going. Let's get this room pumping. I got awesome clips from today. Unbelievable clips that you have not seen on the internet. And I have an update on that crazy mother that took her kid to Florida and left her with her mother, and the father was fighting. There was 2 other videos in Michael Page's room. We have the finale tonight. So let's get rolling.
It's got bouncy houses. And,
yeah, we know that place very well.
She loves
okay.
it. Yeah.
The court would suggest either Monroe. I don't know if there's much food courts there, but either that or meet for lunch at a Bob Evans, for example, or some Chick-fil-A or some maybe does Alexandria have a favorite restaurant, Miss Corey?
Yep, Wendy's. So
okay. What about meeting at the Mall of Monroe, then or Wendy's, or meeting or the Mall of Monroe for an hour, then go to Wendy's?
We could try that. We could try. I'll try.
I would, if we're gonna do something, I want it to be at least 3 hours. I will pay.
Sorry, you cut out. I didn't hear the last part.
Said I would, if we're gonna do this to make it worth my time, I would like to do 3 hours at Funland and then lunch afterwards, or lunch before and then Funland. So it'd be like 4 or 5 hours total once a month that I could get to spend with her, because that would offset my cost of fuel. It would offset my time being out of the repo truck.
Okay, but if I'm at work or something, I will not. Sometimes I won't be able to.
Okay.
So, but I will try my best, and I will agree to 4 or 5 hours. I'll try. I'll do my best. I'll go with her and I'll try.
Mr. Pledger, Alexander may get bored after 1 hour at that fun zone. I'm telling you, she's a 7-year-old, and I've taken my grandchildren out there. She could probably be bored after an hour. So I'm suggesting a minimum of 2 hours, if you can agree, fine. But generally, maybe an hour at lunch at Wendy's, and an hour at the.
This judge loves Wendy's. Somebody get him a $5 biggie bag, please. He loves vanilla Frosties. What do you like? Vanilla, chocolate, or vanilla and chocolate together? And who was pissed that they took the vanilla Frosty away? Me and my daughter went to Wendy's the other night, and my daughter said they have strawberry. What the hell is a strawberry Frosty? Are you kidding me? No.
Fun zone. I mean, that would at least be a step in the right direction. So let's talk about a date that we can do. Obviously, Ms. Corey, if we can do more than 2 hours, that's great. But we need to take into account if Alexandria is going to be bored. So I'm suggesting minimum of 2 hours.
I would say that.
Okay, so the court would decline to order a minimum of 2 hours. What's the best day for your schedules, a Saturday or Sunday?
For me, I prefer Sundays.
I'm sorry, Miss Corey?
I prefer Sundays.
Okay, Mr. Pledger, would that work with you on a Sunday?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, was that yes?
And it seems to me that this judge is more excited about the visitation than the parents are. The parents are like, it doesn't work for me, not me. Oh, I don't want to go to Bob Evans, a bouncy house. He's like, just take her to Wendy's. She's gonna be upset. She's gonna be bored. An hour at Wendy's.
Mr. Pledger, is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, let's pick a couple of Sundays. Let's pick a Sunday in February and a Sunday in March. Obviously, we only have, other than this Sunday, it might be too soon. We shouldn't have school on Monday, correct?
Well, she does
So-
online school, so it's kind of like every day she does school. It doesn't, holidays don't stop it. So,
Why is she not in school in person?
because as how she is, she's not very good with people right now, and I don't want to. She's not good around like men, like grown men, and there's a lot of men that teach, and I don't want her to feel scared and run out. I feel better in here. She's learning as much as she would be learning in school, and she's doing wonderful. So I don't think it's hindering her at all. And I'm taking her to social school events. It's also so she can meet other kids and interact with them. So she is going to social events.
The court believes obviously the in-person is best. I understand during the pandemic, it was not safe for children and the parents were not comfortable. But you could certainly reach out to school, see whether or not there's a female teacher. If in fact you have a concern with male teachers, Miss Corey, let's explore that. In any event, let's pick out a Sunday. We have two Sundays left. We have the 19th of February, the 26th.
Can we do the 26th?
Okay, Mr. Pledger, how about the 26th of February?
That's fine. And I do want to say this. I do support Alexandria doing school online. He has always been one to learn better on a computer or a tablet instead of being lectured. He's just like me. So
that's wonderful. You're both on the same page. It's wonderful. You're both on the same page regarding your education. Okay, so February 26th, a week from Sunday, the parents will meet with mom and obviously, that would make Alexandria's day to see both mom and dad together and be civil to each other, be nice to each other. Miss Corey, you need to encourage it. Say that your dad loves you. We're going to spend. Your dad really wants to see you, Mr. Pledger. You show up maybe with a gift or something, a small gift for Alexandria. Those things make a big difference. So Sunday, February 26th, and what time do you?
Members, throw up the new Webster emoji for this judge. Let's just bomb the chat with the Webster emoji. She looks gangster with that on that emoji.
Maybe 11 o'clock at the Mall of Monroe.
I don't think they're open until noon. So let's do it in the afternoon.
Mark Brulick.
Nicole, will you take a time sometime after
1:30?
Well, you're talking about the meeting for taking her to lunch at Wendy's. So do you want to meet Wendy's at noon and then go to the Mall of Monroe, or I'm just trying to what's best?
Let's do if we can, because Sunday mornings I need to run my new account. So let's do 1 o'clock at Wendy's and then go to the mall.
I'm sorry, break it up.
We're definitely replaying this and playing a shot game every time someone says Wendy's in this clip. Everyone's taking a shot. You're
suggesting to meet at the Mall of Monroe at noon on Sunday?
Well, no, he said Wendy's at 1 and then the mall after.
Okay. What time is Alexandria going to be starved, babe, at 1 o'clock?
She eats breakfast at like 9:10, so she's
right.
Really good.
Okay. So you'll meet at Wendy's at 1 o'clock, and there's a couple of Wendy's in Monroe. I'm trying to think of
there's one really close to me that's right across like the street, so it's easy.
One in Myers parking lot, or is it Walmart?
It's in Myers parking lot.
Okay, you're gonna meet at the Wendy's. You'll meet at the Wendy's on Telegraph at 1 o'clock.
Yes.
Is that correct? Mr. Pledger, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, so the parties will meet to facilitate parenting time with Alexandria on Sunday, February 26th at meeting at the Wendy's on Telegraph at 1 o'clock. And let's do the same thing in March. Let's pick out a Sunday in March. Say like maybe March 19th.
You could do that.
Can the two of you agree upon future Sundays? If the court simply orders that the parties shall meet for a minimum of 2 hours every Sunday in Monroe at a place to be agreed upon, can the two of you agree upon a date in March? Until we come back to court, can you two of you agree upon a date?
Yeah, whatever works for Nicole.
All right, Mr. Walker, if we can just include this recommendation, the court will simply order that the parties shall meet once a month with the minor child here in Monroe. It'll be supervised parenting time for dad, minimum of 2 hours, one Sunday per month, commencing February 26, 2023, at 1 o'clock. The parties meet at Wendy's. So include that in this order. In the meantime, Mr. Pledger, Mr. Corey is going to give you the identity and contact information for the counselor. Reach out to that counselor next week and tell them that you want to be involved. You want to reestablish a relationship with your daughter. It's critical. So now it's time to do that. We don't want to force things. So we want to do it very deliberately.
He's a really good judge. He's really forcing them to step up. And then he brings the father in, and I have part 2. So we'll go to a couple clips after that. And he brings the father in because the father also owes back child support.
All right. Ms. Corey, do you have anything else that you want to make known to the court this morning?
I don't think so.
All right, Mr. Pledger, anything else?
Nope, I'm satisfied with the outcome on the complaint at this time.
All right. So this will include that in this order. So please make it good for both. Be relaxed, no animosity, anxiety when you meet with Alexandria. It's critical, and she'll probably love to have both mom and dad see them both at the same time. So it'll be once a month, and obviously we don't want to force things, Mr. Pledger. We want to hopefully get information from that counselor, and that counselor can help identify the issues that you can help address to maintain and develop that relationship with your daughter. Mr. Walker, is there anything further from your end?
Your Honor, I think that covers everything.
All right, the court will enter an order to that effect. And that will conclude this matter, Mr. Pledger. We're going to see you then at 11:15 in about 25 minutes.
Okay. Where is your courtroom at? I've
Fourth
actually
floor.
never physically.
Yeah, the fourth floor of the courthouse. And are you prepared to make a payment to the front of the court this morning?
Already done it.
Okay, you already did that. How much did you pay this morning?
They're not real.
$2,000. And
All right.
I won't be able to do anything else for a couple of weeks because
Okay, we'll talk about that 11:15, but I'm pleased you made that payment so we can schedule another review date, but we'll talk at 11:15.
Okay, so I did something different this time. What I'm going to do is I didn't put the clips in any order because I get in the comments that blah, 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 you know what's going on. It's not that funny. You watched it already, blah, blah, blah. So what I did was I did all my recordings and all my clips, and I'm just going to randomly select them. So I don't have them in any order. So I'm watching them just like you. Let's enjoy it together. Let's do it. Here we go.
Scott,
You know this one's going to be good. Listen to his excuse. Yikes.
Trooper Eric Whitcomb, Michigan State Police.
Hi, how are you, sir?
Outstanding. Thanks for asking.
Nice to see you. And defendant, can you tell me your legal name?
Sean Michael Donnelly.
Okay. Mr. Donnelly, this is the date and time set for an informal hearing. You have written for 1 ticket, speeding 6 to 10 over on a freeway. And it looks like you were given a warning for no ops on person. This is the date and time for an informal hearing. I don't think you were present when I explained informal hearings earlier on the Zoom. Were you present?
I was not present, no.
Okay. Are you frozen or can
Yeah,
you start your video?
Am I
There you
frozen
go.
right now?
No, now you're not. Okay.
Okay.
So let me explain what happens in an informal hearing. Have you ever had an informal hearing before?
No, I don't think I have.
Okay. So this is the date and time set because you requested an informal hearing. I am a magistrate. I'm not a judge. So informal hearings under the court rule are handled by a magistrate. By proceeding today, you have 3 choices. You can admit responsibility where I go and assess fines and costs, which I have discretion on. You can admit responsibility with an explanation. If you do either one of those, you give up your right to an appeal. If you admit responsibility with an explanation, the court, me, hears it as well as Trooper Whitcomb. On behalf of the state of Michigan, he has the discretion and the power to make a motion to perhaps reduce the ticket as it's written. They sometimes do that based upon how you conducted yourself with the traffic stop, how you present today, and any mitigating circumstances that you may provide in your explanation. However, you have to know that by admitting responsible with explanation, the trooper is not required to grant you any favors. If you want to deny responsibility, you in your heart of hearts, you don't believe you did it, then we go forward with an informal hearing. At that time, I swear in the witnesses, so everything you say is under oath by penalty. And at the conclusion of the hearing as written, then I find you responsible. And I don't have any power or ability to change the points with the Secretary of State. That is solely between you and the state of Michigan. And I don't have that power. And I also don't have any power to make Trooper Whitcomb give you a deal or give you a break. Okay, that's got to come from him and only him. So I'm a little bit limited and constrained as to what I can do. So by proceeding today,
Dude, bro.
give up your right to have this matter heard by a judge or a jury. If you admit responsibility, you have no right to appeal. If you admit responsible, either to the ticket as written or any motion made by Trooper Whitcomb, you cannot appeal that, although there is a court rule where you can ask the court to set aside your party admission. You may have to post a bond. Hearing what I've said, do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Okay, and how would you like to proceed today, sir?
I would like to admit guilt with explanation.
Okay. Let me just look at the comments. Trooper Whitcomb, what before we go forward, he had lane passing and you read it at what speed? Do you have the ticket in front of you?
Yes, 86 and 85 miles an hour were his speeds.
Okay, 86 and 85, but you wrote it only for 6 to 10 over.
Right, so I took it down from a 2-point violation down to a 1.
Okay, so Mr. Donnelly, let's hear your explanation.
Okay, well, just that day, I had to give up my other car, my Jeep Cherokee, to the shop, and so I was borrowing my mom's car, and I had to go to work, and it was a thing where I think like I'm still kind of like I can control it and have like good control over the car itself, but I think like with the pressure of the gas and everything was something where I was still kind of getting comfortable with and familiar with. Along with that, I feel like I was going like if anything, I had the idea that I usually try to go not more than 5 over, which when I ascend into like a uphill or like an exit, I exceed a little bit, but I guess I figured that you know, I have like a way of driving my Jeep where I can you know, still be kind of going like a reasonable speed. But I think with this new car, it was something where my driving was a little bit thrown off as far as like going over the speed limit, which I'm, you know, I admit to fault for speeding if that's the speed that came out of it. But
Okay, so you lost me a little bit, but is the basic explanation is you are driving a car with which you were not familiar and you thought you were driving slower than you were, but because you weren't familiar with the car, it was faster than you thought.
yes,
Did I understand it?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Okay. Trooper, you heard the explanation.
Come
Is there
on.
anything you would like the court to consider on behalf of the state of Michigan?
Yeah, since he's a new driver, I'd be willing to give him an extra hand and make a motion to amend the count to a limited access freeway speed 1 to 5 over, and just ask that he keeps a closer eye on his speedometer.
Okay, so what the trooper is doing is making a motion from limited access 6 to 10 over. Now listen, he already gave you a break on the side of the road. Okay, so now you've asked for this hearing, he's giving you another break. So this is like double break. So that's very kind.
He essentially said he didn't know his mother's car's acceleration, so that's why he was speeding opposed to his Jeep. And they gave him a break. Are you kidding me? Not in Jersey.
That doesn't always happen in ordinary life. So don't assume that this happens every time you get a ticket, that you get 2 breaks, because it sounds like he was cool when he first pulled you over. Okay, so
cool.
He's reducing it even further, that you were speeding on the freeway 1 to 5. That's $130 fine. If I grant the motion, are you willing to admit responsibility to speeding on the freeway 1 to 5 over?
Yes, I do admit to speeding to that, and I appreciate the generosity from
Okay.
the trooper.
How much time do you need to pay for that, sir?
I will need
14 days, 30 days? I don't know what your financial situation is.
I think I'll need 30 days. That will be good.
Okay, 30 days to pay. You can pay online, by mail, or in person.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, trooper. Thank the
You're welcome.
trooper.
Yeah, thank you, trooper.
You got it.
Okay, 1 second. Trooper, I don't know if I have another.
Thank you, Trooper. Here we go. Judge DeSanto, you know she's my personal fave. This is the doozy.
Good morning, Your Honor. Attorney Corey Westmoreland, appearing on behalf of Mr. Franklin. Mr. Franklin, would you please state your full name for the record?
Yes, Jonathan James Franklin.
All right, thank you. And so you were scheduled to be in court on January 17th, and you were not, so a warrant was issued. And
I was in Washtenaw County Jail on the 17th.
Hold on, sir. We're going to get to that. So just one moment. And so, counsel, the court will recall the warrant. We can conduct the arraignment, but not the pretrial. And so, as to the arraignment.
As to the arraignment, Your Honor, we are prepared to waive a formal reading. My client stands mute.
All right, the court will waive the formal reading, enter a plea of not guilty for purposes of the arraignment. We'll set this for a pretrial on March 7th at 9 a.m. And council asked to bond.
Yes, Your Honor. I would like you to know that Mr. Franklin does currently live in Wyandotte. He's not currently on probation or parole. He is on a very, very limited income. He collects Social Security disability. After speaking with him at length this morning, he did assure me that he will be appearing at all future court dates. As he mentioned a few minutes ago, he failed to appear on the 17th because he was in Washtenaw County Jail. And at this time, Your Honor, if he was tested for drugs and alcohol, he would test negative for any sorts of drugs and alcohol. I would just
Sir,
put the court take all into account.
Okay, so sir, February 7th or January 17th, you were in custody in Washtenaw County?
Yep.
And what were you in custody for, sir?
What was it? It was a warrant old warrant I had for disorderly.
Showdown. The DeSanto silence. You know it.
You're not
It's coming.
You're not on probation anymore through the Third Circuit Court?
No.
When did that end?
That ended in this last summer.
Okay, well, this shows to be felony resisting assaulting an officer as to the matter while you were in custody. But this shows the 18th of January, not the 17th.
Yeah, they took 2 days to book me when I went in there because it took them 2 days to book me. So there was different dates. What I show on my proof of incarceration says the 17th. I have my proof of incarceration.
All right, and then you were bound over to the circuit court, correct?
I suppose, yeah.
Okay, and so then how did you come to be in Wyandotte custody? Did Wyandotte go pick you up or what happened?
Yeah, Wyandotte picked me up.
From Washtenaw County?
No, just from Wyandotte, from outside in Wyandotte.
Okay, so how'd you come to be in custody today, sir?
I was just walking and I got stopped. The police knew who I was and I had a warrant.
Okay, so when were you released from Washtenaw County custody, sir?
Oh, that was back probably about a month ago. Wait, yeah, about a month ago.
Okay, and yet you still never came into court. You still never came into court to handle this matter.
I've been dealing with it. I thought, because to be honest, it's my niece's boyfriend. We've hung out.
Don't talk about the case. Don't talk about the case right now.
Okay. Yeah, I was told that he talked to the detective though, and that he told him they want to press charges, and that pretty much I thought it was all summed up.
We're not talking about the case today.
You had a notice to appear. You were supposed to have been in court on January 17th. You were in custody in another jurisdiction. Upon your release, you did not contact the 27th District Court to reschedule your matter, did you?
I didn't know I needed to until I just found out there was a warrant.
Sir, perhaps if you've never had any contact with the criminal justice system, I might believe that. But given your criminal history, I absolutely do not believe that you did not know what to do. You have a significant criminal history.
Yeah, disorderly persons, my MO, I know. You don't have to read it off again, you've read it before.
Yeah. You have an OWI, minor possession. You've had
Read it
plenty of
off.
assault cases
You
dismissed.
don't have to read it off, ma'am.
Getting
I know
pissed.
that.
Oh, sir, for the record, I absolutely do. So do not tell me what I have to do or not. Is that understood?
Yes.
You have a possession charge from 2008 out of the 25th District Court. You have another public peace that was nolle prossed. You have another disorderly conduct. Both of those were out of 28th District Court in Southgate. Another disorderly out of Southgate in 2009. And another domestic violence, you were found guilty out of 28th District Court. 2010, disturbing the peace out of 24th District Court. 2011, you had a nolle pros of your MDOP out of the 28th District Court. Then you moved to the 23rd District Court in 2012. You have a trespass dismissed, a disorderly person you pled guilty to. Then you have a felony resisting obstructing out of the 3rd Circuit in 2012. You have an illegal entry dismissed, 23rd District Court in 2012. You had a possession dismissed and disorderly person dismissed. 2018 in the 25th District Court, you pled guilty to disorderly person. You had 2 charges of resisting obstructing an officer dismissed. In 2017, you have an assault and battery out of the 15th District Court in Ann Arbor. Another, you have a felony.
I think you're
reduced. I'm sorry.
I think you're missing a lot too. A lot of disorderlies.
I'm not done. Your felony was reduced to a larceny or to a misdemeanor larceny. And then another receiving, concealing stolen property out of the 15th District Court in Ann Arbor. Another assault and battery out of the 15th District Court in Ann Arbor. Another assault and battery in 2017 out of the 15th District Court, 2 of those.
Okay.
Then you had out of the 15th District Court, a felony assault intent to do great bodily harm less than murder dismissed. You had 2 of those dismissed, 3 of those dismissed.
Yeah, dismissed, 3, yep.
And then you have 3 other felony assault with dangerous weapons dismissed. Then later on that year, a retail fraud, another retail fraud dismissed. Then down in 36th District Court, another retail fraud. Then in 2020, Detroit, you pled guilty to felony assault with dangerous weapon.
This is biased bullcrap. I don't want to hear it.
Then you had a CCW dismissed, and you had a habitual offender second offense, to which you received 3 years probation, of which you're already off, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Then again in 2020, you pled guilty to resisting and obstructing an officer. That's out of this court here that originated. And we had another matter, the same charge dismissed. Then at the University of Michigan in 2022, you had assault and battery that was apparently reduced to disorderly person. Then you have the current charge out of Washtenaw County for you, resisting and obstructing felony, and then this matter. There are a couple other local matters as well that perhaps for disorderly conducts that don't have any judicial segments in them. So perhaps those are the other misdemeanors that you are talking about. The disorderly person. So based upon Mr. Franklin's criminal history, the assaultive nature of his criminal history, and the fact that he had failed to appear in this court, the court still would consider that a significant issue about him being locked up in another jurisdiction had he contacted the court upon his release, which he did not do.
I did contact the court.
Now, when did you do that, sir?
The second day I got out of jail, I called up here to the court.
Okay, because when I asked you that before, you said you didn't know you needed to do that. You didn't say you called the court.
No, I knew I had that warrant. That's why I got the proof of incarcerations.
But yet again, sir, you were still walking around town, not doing anything to address your matter?
Well, I was in due process. I was gonna take care of the matter, ma'am.
Sir, it's not based upon your time frame. That's not how this works.
I know I didn't have
Timothy
money
G.
to post the bond, though. I didn't have money at the time to post bond.
Okay, sir,
I smell
here's a
it.
newsflash. Had you turned yourself in, the court likely would have given you a personal bond because you voluntarily walked yourself in to take care of it. But you didn't. You were taken into custody by Wyandotte PD.
Nice. Water so bad.
And do you have anywhere else you can stay, sir, other than the home on Biddle?
Yeah.
Where's that?
Sharon Street in Taylor, 305 Sharon Street.
People in Wyandotte
lives there?
love mean streets. They love
Friend
streets.
of mine.
Doesn't have a name?
Dustin Sheets.
Justin Sheets?
Yeah.
Is that yes?
Yes.
And you don't work, sir?
Not currently. I'm looking for employment though.
Why do you not work?
I was on disability, but I want to try the Ticket to Work program now through Social Security.
Okay, so this court is going to indicate a $7,500 10% bond based upon the defendant's criminal history, his previous failure to appear. And the court's going to indicate the following bond conditions. You're not to have any contact with Timothy James. That's phone contact, text message, email, social
He
media.
had contact with me. You don't have to read off my criminal record every time I get in front of you. You're very biased and rude and despicable, if you ask me.
Okay, well, that's your opinion. You're entitled to that opinion, sir. And so you're not to have any contact with Timothy James, phone contact, text message, email, social media.
Tell him to stop contacting me, man.
You're not to enter the premises on Biddle Avenue at 1206 Biddle Avenue. And you may be allowed one visit there to retrieve any personal items that you may need, so long as you're accompanied by a police officer. You're not to possess or consume any alcohol or drugs that are not prescribed. You're not to possess or have access to any firearms and or any weapons. Do you have any of those, sir?
No.
Do you have access to any?
No.
All right, in the event we post bond, you're not to be released without GPS tether, house arrest. Anything else, counsel?
I'm dismissed next week. Nobody charges your eyes.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
She was actually pretty reserved with him. She usually blows her top. I'm surprised. She's in a good mood today. DeSanto would have ripped him a new one if she was in a bad mood. All right, so this next clip, this is the finale of the Michael Page saga, of this delusional Karen mom that did nothing but yell and scream. All of the LawTube guys had it. And there was two prior clips. You could find them. I'm going to post the link in the description if you haven't seen it before. But this is the conclusion of it, where Mike Page closes the case and he lays down the law. And of course, she doesn't like it. So the backdrop is she out of nowhere sent her daughter to go live in Florida because she couldn't handle her and she needed an adjustment. And the father said, hey, you can't just pick up and leave. Even though you have full custody, you can't just take her down to Florida. I have my rights too. And this whole time, Mike Page has been siding with the father, and the attorney's been running rings around the mother because she doesn't have any representation. She just thinks if she could cry, everybody's just going to say, oh, okay, we feel bad for you, and we're going to let your daughter stay in Florida. So here's the conclusion.
That's certainly true that permission is not required to move more than 100 miles in Michigan, which normally it is required if one party wants to change the child's legal residence with joint legal custody. Case law is a little bit less clear on whether that same permission is needed or not to move the domicile out of state. I guess based on what I'm about to order as far as custody is concerned, I don't know that the determination on the show cause is absolutely necessary. So I'm going to dismiss the show cause. As far as custody goes, the way a custody motion works is that the motion is filed, court has to make an initial determination on whether there's a change in circumstances or proper cause to consider the motion. And the judge heard at least some initial statements on December 12th regarding the motion. And in setting it for further proceedings, I assume that she was of the opinion that there was a change in circumstances or proper cause to consider the motion. Whether that was specifically articulated or not, I don't know. But at this point, I will make a finding that there is proper cause to consider the motion because the child's not living with either parent at this time. So that then shifts the focus to whether there's an established custodial environment with either parent, and be determined at this time that there really isn't. The child has lived here and there for, it sounds like, a lot of her life. She lived up until 2018 or 2016, the case was filed, and there was an order entered as we've gone over through testimony in 2017 and then in 2018, granting custody and parenting time. But then the parties resided together under some arrangement for the better part of a couple of years over the next 3, from 2018 to 2021, give or take. Then it sounds like mom moved out of the dad's house, or the dad, his house with his parents, and lived on her own for some period of time. But then the child went back and lived with dad from sometime around a year ago until around the end of the school year. Dates are somewhat foggy because the parties are not in agreement on those dates, but for some period of time anyway. And then the child went back with mom, it sounds like, for the summer, maybe a few weeks at the beginning of the school year. But then the child's with the grandmother, and really custodial environment has to be established over time. And the child hasn't had a significant length of time with anybody really to establish a custodial environment at this point. I guess I will state that probably the most stability that she's had, it sounds like, were those 6 months or so with Mr. Hughes over the last few years. So as far as the two parents are concerned, I'm not sure about the situation with grandma right now. Maybe it may be just fine. However, as I've indicated, this is not decided between a third party and a parent. This is decided between the parents. And I don't even get to the point where I can consider third parties for custody, as I've stated, unless either parent is determined to be incapable of or unwilling to raise a child, or both parents are considered to be unfit. And I'm not making that finding at this time. So at this point, the child custody factors would be analyzed by preponderance of evidence. The testimony, and Ms. Williams was given ample opportunity to present any testimony she wanted. Her testimony didn't necessarily consist of a lot of things that could be plugged into the 12 child custody factors. Mr. Hughes did. So the first factor comes down to essentially a bond between the parent and the child, whether who the child's bonded with, who the child goes to with problems. Does a parent relate to a child? Things like that. Specifically, the law says the love, affection, and other emotional ties existing between the parties involved and the child. And Mr. Hughes testified about his relationship with the child, the fact that they do things together. They go to, they play outside, they ride the quad, they go to the trampoline park, they go on trips together, they go to the lake, he reads books to her, he prepares cereal and school lunch, the lunches at school, but dinner's prepared for her. And I would find him in favor on that factor. The second is the capacity and disposition of the parties involved to give a child love, affection, and guidance, and continue raising the child in the child's original and to continue educating the child. It appears that I don't know where the child really went to school from. The
Paige
fall of
hates this
21
mother.
or the
Hates her.
fall of 22 up until she moved in with her grandmother. But it sounds like he provided schooling for the child for the second semester anyway of the last school year. When the child was residing with him, it sounds like there was some issue with the threat. It sounds like that was dealt with. He noted some behavior issues, so he made himself a presence in the child's school. He said that improved things. He said at home she was just fine. And for those reasons, I would find him in favor on factor 2. Factor 3 is the capacity and disposition of the parties to provide the child with food, clothing, medical care, and other care recognized under the laws of the state. Mr. Hughes testified that the child has food and clothing in his care, and those necessities aren't in question. And I would find him in favor on that factor. The next factor is the length of time the child has lived in a stable, satisfactory environment. As I've indicated, the child appears to have moved around a fair amount, and hopefully that's not going to become a problem as time goes on or in the future. It sounds like Dad was really ready, willing, and able a year ago to provide care for the child on an extended basis. It sounds like it doesn't sound like the mom, Ms. Williams, is really capable of raising the child on a consistent basis. Child was with both of them, then with mom for a short period of time, then with Dad for 4 or 5, 6 months, and then with mom for the summer, and now with grandma for what was presumed was going to be the school year. So it doesn't sound like Ms. Williams really has the either the capability or the interest to provide long-term care for this child, and I find in favor of the father on that factor. Fifth factor is the permanence of a family unit in either home. Sounds like Ms. Williams lives with a friend and Mr. Hughes lives with his girlfriend. So that factor is not really relevant, I guess. The moral fitness of the parties involved, I didn't hear anything that would cause me to believe that either of them were immoral or that they had a criminal record or abuse neglect record that would affect their ability to parents. So I wouldn't consider that factor. Mental and physical health of the parties involved. I've heard 3 different reasons why Ms. Williams was not able to raise the child on a steady and consistent basis. I heard she works too much, that the child needed an attitude adjustment, and that she had health issues. So that would certainly impact that factor. And really her mental health, I guess. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure what's going on there. Her behavior on the record was a little bit out of the ordinary, and her testimony or statements consisted mostly of yelling and not really just calmly and coolly presenting evidence. And,
Yelling.
So I'm not really 100% sure what's going on there, but certainly it appears that there might be some issues going on, and I would find in favor of Mr. Hughes on that factor. Child's homeschool and community record. I didn't hear a whole lot about the home school or community record from Ms. Williams. Mr. Hughes, however, testified that the child did well in school when with him. She was recommended to be passed on to the next grade. I guess it would have been nice to see some attendance records for that period of time to establish the exact date she was in his care. Didn't have that to consider, but I guess she was in kindergarten then and she's in first grade now, so must have been a recommendation that she move on. So I'd find it in favor of Mr. Hughes on that factor. Next factor is the child's preference, and I don't know what the child would tell me. She might say she wants to live with grandma. She might say mom. She might say dad. Really, it's not going to be relevant at this point. And I don't like to say that because I think kids should have a chance to have some input in these things, even though it's not usually enough to overcome substantial amounts of evidence to the contrary. But I guess I'm assuming that the only real options here are between Ms. Ratton and Mr. Hughes, and that Ms. Williams' house isn't really an option. So You know, that for the reasons I've stated regarding third-party custody, I guess the child's preference or in-camera child interview isn't really necessary. So that's not going to be considered at this point. The next factor is, it's a long one, but it comes down to the ability of the parents to co-parent. And it sounds like when left to their own devices, they co-parent okay. I mean, mom was having an issue. She needed to lean on dad for a place to live for a while. And you moved her in. It's the parents' house, but you moved her in for a couple different periods of time, it sounds like. And then mom needed help with the child at the beginning of last year. And dad stepped up and he took the child under his wing and provided care for her for the rest of the school year. And then when mom wanted her back, he gave her back. And they saw the child for whatever periods of time in the meantime. And the child was with the other parent. So it sounds like they can co-parent when they have specific operating instructions maybe, but then this issue with the child being sent off to Florida through a monkey wrench and things. And so I'll find the parties equal on that factor. The next factor was domestic violence. It didn't appear there was none testified to anyway, so that factor wouldn't be considered. Any other factor that the court feels is relevant, certainly the child being moved off to live in Florida is relevant with the third party over the objection of the parent who was the father. He has not agreed to that. He's not been found to be unfit, so his opinion has to be considered. And an order can't be entered contrary to that opinion unless the court were to make that unfitness finding over his objection. And I've said 3 times now, I think I'm not making that finding. So at this point, Mr. Hughes will be granted sole physical custody of the child. The parties will be granted joint legal custody of the child. The child will be returned back to Michigan and in Mr. Hughes' care. Ms. Williams, to the extent she's able, will be afforded reasonable parenting time pursuant to front of the court reasonable parenting time policy. And I need some more information to determine a child support obligation here. Sir, you said you make 17 what per hour?
Like 1767, I want to say.
All right, you work 40 hours a week?
Yes.
Do you have any other minor children besides this child?
Yes, I have a son that lives in the UP.
How old is he?
7.
All right, he's your kid?
Yes.
Okay. And so if mom has reasonable parenting time, you'd have 263 overnight. She would have 102. Is there, let's see, who's typically claimed this child for a dependent on tax time?
I have, but I've always given Kristen.
Here
most
she
of that money
comes.
for having me claim her.
No, you do not. Don't even lie.
I'm not lying.
She's a
If the order
pig.
doesn't determine it, then it would be the party who has the child the majority of the time would be the party who would claim the child. So I'm gonna put that in dad's column. He had the child for 6 months of last year.
No, my mom
Got
should claim
custody
her.
going forward.
No, my mom should claim her.
No, your mom's not going to claim her. Mr. Hughes is going to claim her. He's the parent. He had the child for the first 5-6 months of the year.
No, he didn't.
And you had the child for some period of time.
You listen. Your Honor, could I say something just real
No,
quick?
no,
My phone's
no,
gonna die. I just need real quick, just my phone's about to die. Is there any way we can wait till the end of the school year to send her back to Michigan? So she doesn't have to change schools again?
No, she shouldn't have been, it shouldn't have been changed down there in the first place. I guess if Mr. Hughes agrees to that, that's fine, but I'm getting the idea that he doesn't, so that's.
And he
not-
better figure out a way to bring her home.
Ma'am, how much do you make in your position at your work?
$13.50.
Where do you work?
Reed City, Big Rapids Fields.
Oh, that's good. How many hours a week?
Between 32 and 40.
And do you have minor children? How many minor children do you have in addition to this child?
3.
3 total or 3 more?
3 more.
Okay. And do you claim those children for tax purposes?
We split years between my younger 2, and then my son's dad claims him.
And sir, do you claim your son or not?
No, his mom does.
He doesn't even see his son.
How's the child? Either of you have health insurance on the child?
He has Medicaid.
Florida Medicaid at the moment.
Yeah. Big Rapids Fields doesn't offer health insurance, ma'am?
Nope.
Sir, does Cedar Springs Public Schools, they must offer health insurance.
I don't know what their health insurance is quite yet. I'm still working on that.
These parents don't have a clue. Like, they don't have a clue.
Let me compute child support real quick.
Anyone could have a kid, but not everybody could be a parent. Oh, she's raring to go. Her voice goes right through me. I guess this is what it sounded like when I had my mic volume up in my first couple videos that people are still commenting on. Dude, you're killing me. I had to apologize about 60 times to people in the comments. I felt so bad. Rookie audio problems. So bad. Those videos are so cringeworthy. Not as cringy as this woman, though. She's the cringiest of the cringe. This guy is definitely thinking, what did I do? Why? Why? And she's got, what, 3 other baby daddies? 2 other baby daddies? I can't.
Effective January 1st, Ms. Williams will be ordered to pay $213 a month support, 15 ordinary medical, total of $228 per month. And Mr. Hughes' support would be set to 0, obviously, at that time. He'd be the recipient of support. Child's to be turned over to Mr. Hughes within 7 days. Anything
He's
further
gonna
from today?
have to, he's gonna have to find a way to come get her, Your Honor. My husband and I both work full time. I've got no way to bring her back.
Are you able to meet halfway?
It would depend on the time. I've got, I get like 3 days off and then I go back to another job.
Or weekend? My client's available to drive on the weekend.
My weekends are when I work. I work for a food vendor. We work at art festivals.
Your husband as well?
I even know where she works. She said it 8 times in the last 2 videos.
Something out. Like I said, my battery is really gonna die. You guys are probably gonna lose me any second.
Ugh, her and this phone.
Go ahead, Your Honor. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just don't.
You're sitting in a car. You don't have a charger, lady? Come on. This mother's annoying, too. She's such an enabler.
I will wait to bring her totally back to Michigan.
I get that. I mean, the situation has been created here against Mr. Hughes' interests, and to require him to drop everything to travel to Florida to pick up a child that shouldn't have been there in the first place. He's not for this long. He addressed this right off the bat. He filed his first paperwork back in the beginning of November, as soon as this whole deal went down. He should have been the one who was asked.
But he didn't contact his daughter. He may have contacted the courts, but at that time he was not in contact with his daughter.
Okay.
But regardless, I'm sorry.
No. So whatever's easiest on him, you know. Mr. Hughes, what's the quickest you can, maybe meet halfway to pick the child up or go get the child?
Meet halfway tomorrow.
I can't do it tomorrow.
It's gonna be a weekend because I work Monday through Friday.
Well, I'm at work right now until Monday.
I mean, I could talk to my boss and see if I can take a couple days off to drive halfway down there, but that's me losing money.
Yeah, I get that. Ms. Williams, what about you? I mean, you're kind of responsible for creating this whole situation. What can you do to help get the child back sooner rather than later?
I have no way to go get her. My car's not gonna make it to Florida. There's no way.
Your Honor, we were brainstorming, maybe,
And
my
she's
client
not
is willing to
flying-
fly down to
she's-
Florida
she's-
and pick up Emma and bring back, but there's the cost of the plane ticket is the,
She's not flying from Florida back home by herself. No.
right,
He
I
said
suggested.
he would fly down there and
pick
get
her
it.
up.
Well, I can't upfront money for him to fly to Florida because I pay $325 in child support on my son, and now you want me to pay him $215 a month? Like, that leaves me with nothing to support my other children at all.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody cares that, oh,
All right, so Mr. Hughes is gonna fly down and get the child. Ms. Ratton, he'll let you know when he's gonna be there and what time to have the child available for him. Ms. Williams will repay the amount that it costs for those flights within 6 months.
I don't think she should have to pay it off.
no, I'm not.
Okay, well, if a contempt proceeding is filed as a result of that, then we'll have a hearing on that. But at this point, that would be the order. Is there anything further for today?
Just to be clear, Your Honor, when you said that dad can claim Emma on the 2022 taxes, is that going to be written in the order?
Yes.
And I'm not terribly familiar with the Nuevo schedule. When would mother's first weekend visit be?
It would be this weekend, so more than likely 2 weeks from now, every other weekend.
All right, I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
All right, we're all set then. You get orders in the mail within a couple of days.
Here we go, Manning time. If you guys haven't, if no one caught the TPO, we got Manning TPO.
So I heard her say she was gonna, I think, quote, bust your ass out. Is that? Down just a.
I'm sorry, they're very loud.
Yeah, I know. So if they're loud, it gets a little distorted on my end.
Yeah. They're very loud. Give me 1 second.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going down, Your Honor. It's a lot. 1 second.
I don't think these kids want to play with you. I just don't think you said the too old.
Yeah, like she has. This don't make no sense.
Ms. Martin, I'm gonna have to mute you. Don't keep laughing.
Okay, that's one of them.
Miss Matthews, is that what she's saying? She's gonna bust your ass out. Is that what she's saying?
Yeah, she said I'm gonna bust your ass out. Not only that, I have a recording of her coming to my house.
Okay, so hold on. Let me hear something else. But you can't talk over it, okay? You can't talk over it. So what date was that when she said she was gonna bust your ass out?
Oh, Lord.
You know-
1 second. I'm finna go to it. It's in the Gmail. Give me 1 second.
Was it recently? Just tell me, was it recently?
It was that time, like the harassment started with her in May.
Okay, so
but
this voice,
the incident happened in January.
okay, so that voicemail, was it in January?
Yes.
Okay, all right, play the next one.
She took her glasses off. Once she has the glasses off, it's over.
Hold on 1 second. I tried to break them down. Hold on 1 second.
What the fuck? Vagina that you supposed to be nasty. And look where she at. Bitch, you come be the same place. Keep playing. Keep playing, bitch. Y'all jealous of a nigga, bro. That's all it is. What the fuck? Jealous? Jealous? Jealous of you for 5 kids that came out. Tried to play both ways, sweetie, because he had me come over there and try to drop me. Because he sat right there and called me. He called me over there. He said, you supposed to do you, sweetheart. You got my
1 second.
We were saying they were using Teddy Ruxpin. Teddy Ruxpin recorded this. He's on a Macaulay Culkin Talk Boy from Home Alone 2. Here, clicking the rewind, fast forward buttons. Definitely not on an iPhone.
Ms. Moore, I know you're not laying down in the bed in my courtroom.
Judge, I am at work. I am not laying down in the bed.
I'm talking to you,
This
Ms.
is actually
Martin.
wasting
I
my
said Ms.
time.
Moore. I said Ms. Moore.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Miss Martin. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is at the moment right here. At the moment right here, this is what she was at my house right here.
Okay.
Those just are the auto threats recording on her attempt to come to my residence.
So, Ms.
This what
Matthews,
those were.
Ms.
But this
Ms.
right here, is what,
Matthews.
ma'am.
All right, help me out. I mean, I could hear some N-word.
It's very loud because the way I had to record this auto recording is loud.
Let me finish what I'm saying. I heard some N-words and some D-words.
Look at Manning. Look at Manning. It's fucking great.
And she pursued the attempt to attack me, and I'm now 8 months pregnant right now, and she pursued to come to my residence. She came to my residence, and those recordings are her sitting outside my residence.
Okay, so
attempting.
she was trying to
Yes.
contact you, but did you guys, why is she mad coming over there mad and raising Cain?
Because she don't want me to get my kids back. And I'm trying to fight her to get my kids back.
So
That's what's
you have a case in juvenile court?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So could you help me a little bit about what you say some of those recordings said? Because I pointed out the words that I could hear. So what was she saying?
Bitch, bitch, stop playing with me. You'll be on your dying bed. Like, we had a cousin that passed at 36 due to a heart attack. I have high blood pressure. She knows that, and she know my medical conditions. And it's just the fact of, like, why would you do somebody like that if you know you only have temporary with their children? You only have temporary, and all these, and I'm not finna go around nobody that's gonna attempt to fight me that has 5 of my children. I'm not gonna go around them. I'm not gonna need to. I tried to get her to bring the kids to my residence. But we have a court date coming up where I'm gonna see about that court date, what happened with that. But the main concern is I tried everything since she have had temporary custody of these kids to get my kids involved in my life without her. My lawyer stated, my legal aid stated, don't contact her. Only reason why I contacted her, the day of this incident was January 29th. That's the day of the incident of my son's birthday. I had every right to contact her because she have 5 of my children. But the assault and the fighting me and all that stuff while I'm pregnant and stuff, I can't deal with that. I'm not gonna deal with that. It's gonna make me look bad as a mother trying to come around and do visitation rights with my children.
All right, let me hear from Ms. Martin for a second. Go ahead, Ms. Martin.
Thank you. Okay. First, I'm gonna start with this. I'm glad you let me hear the last recording, because that was actually her calling my phone. I thought harassment is when you keep calling somebody and you tell them not to keep calling you. That's harassment. She calling my phone. So yes, I did tell her, you call my phone again. Don't call my phone no more unless you want to fight. Your Honor, this is my little sister. I have been dealing with this girl telling lies on me for forever. The reason why I have her children,
Doesn't matter. I don't care. Doesn't matter.
So you just let her talk, but now I can't talk.
I don't care why they have her children. That's for juvenile court. That's not anything
Okay.
Today.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about what's related to today.
And I'm pretty smart, Ms. Martin. So it's juvenile. So I know. So go ahead.
Okay. The first recording she let you hear, when you thought you heard I was gonna bust her ass out. No, that's not what was said. What was said was she should have let you hear the whole recording. She had been calling my niece, my oldest niece, bullying her. She have spit on this girl, beat her, abused her. She was calling my niece to bully her. I said, I will not allow you to bully her. I will teach her to box you out before I do that. That was not me threatening to hit her. That is a lie. Everything she has put in this petition is a complete lie. Everything. And if she can't prove all this stuff she done lied about, I really want to press charges. Like, serious, I do. I want to press charges because this is a waste of my time. I'm at work. This girl done had the sheriff knock on my door for lies. These are all lies, ma'am. Everything. I never came to her home. All these recordings that you hear her recording you, that's because she called my phone. So yes, when someone is calling my phone, bothering me and upsetting me, yes, I'm gonna get loud. Yes, I'm gonna curse. Yes, I'm gonna yell. Yes. She's calling my phone, ma'am. So if anybody got harassed in this situation, it was me, not her. She called on my nephew's birthday asking me why I'm messing with her Gateway account. I don't mess. Why would I mess with your Gateway account? I've been had the kids since March of last year. It ain't May, so she could.
All right, so placed you on mute, and I'm putting Miss Matthews on mute. It's funny because I usually say something to people who have the same children. They're both the parents. You folks are your sisters. I've never really felt this much with my sister. I mean, even when we were little, she beat me up till I got bigger than her, but it doesn't matter. I feel sorry for these children that they're living in this environment where this is going on. Because I can imagine.
Your Honor, may I please speak?
Ma'am, not while I'm talking. That if she's calling over you, which Miss Matthews, if your lawyer says don't call her, that's what lawyers are for, to tell you what to do legally. I suggest that you listen to that lawyer. There was a reason that lawyer told you not to call her. And I'm pretty familiar with juvenile court. I sit down there sometimes. So down there on a dependency, which means the children were removed from you. Instead of foster care, Ms. Martin stepped in and took the kids because if they have a relative. So Ms. Martin is keeping the children. Thank you, Ms. Martin, for doing that and not letting the children go into the foster care system. Now, besides that, if both of y'all are this much of a hothead, these poor children need a little break. I mean, and Miss Matthews, the best way for you to get your children back is to fix you. And don't worry about Miss Martin. And I know you want to see your children, but this gets brought up.
Your Honor, but I know I'm not trying to. Oh, okay.
Both just let me finish talking. This handled down the street, and I'm pointing towards the juvenile courthouse because I can see it. This gets handled right down there, and everything that just happened is going to get brought out down there, and none of that concerns anything about what's in best for your children. And it's best that your children have both of you, because Ms. Matthews, if by chance something were to happen to you, then I'm assuming your children would have to go live with someone else, either their father, your mother, or whomever. And I'm assuming since Ms. Martin took them now, maybe she would be the one to take care of them. So one thing you don't want is to have a bad relationship so that if something ever happens to you, you're not getting along with a person who you know is probably going to be the one to take care of your children. Now, I'm just assuming that she would do that. She did now, and maybe they would go to. But if their fathers aren't around to take them, Ms. Martin stepped up, which means the fathers didn't step up to take them in juvenile court. So this is the thing: is you've got to get along with one another, and y'all really shouldn't. Really, if there's Ms. Martin, let me ask you a question. Can you take yourself off mute?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are there is there visits that's set up for Miss Matthews to see the children?
Miss Judge.
Just yes or no?
She ain't even gonna be around them kids, to be honest.
So right now, the court down there in juvenile court down the street has not set up a visitation schedule.
No, I had to call CPS on her. She's not even supposed to be around them. That's why I'm telling you everything that she's doing. She's lying.
Okay, hold on. I just asked a simple question. She had visitation. Ms. Matthews, now let me ask you, they've given you a case plan to work?
The thing about it, Your Honor, the petitionary that was taken out on me, I have a legal aid and a power attorney that's handling that stuff in defense courthouse right now. Because what it is, she took advantage of my mental state.
Ms. Matthews, first I want you to answer my question. Nobody ever wants to answer my question. Do you have a case plan?
No, it is not it's called, I'm sorry, the spelling of the name is called a recertification plan or something like that. It's court order. Yeah, I don't even have that yet. The court is just starting. We don't even have that.
The court is not just started. We've been in
God, ladies.
I'm not
God,
saying that.
she just keep lying.
All right, y'all gotta stop. So Ms. Matthews, you have a case plan or a visitation?
No, I do not have that yet.
Listen to me, Miss Matthews. I am not. Y'all think I'm a big old idiot, but I'm not. I sit on the bench down there. I have heard hundreds of juvenile cases.
And it states
what you're doing right now is you've got a reunification / case plan that tells you things you need to do. Sometimes it tells people, not necessarily you have to get basic housing, have to get a job, have to be able to supply the children with this, have to do this, have to take parenting classes, all this. There is stuff you're supposed to do to get your children back, period. So if the juvenile court has not given you some sort of supervised visits or visits, because they would arrange it with Miss Martin for you to have visits, then you don't need to be talking to her. What you need to focus on, Miss Matthews, is you're working your case plan / reunification plan and taking care of your children. Because as long as this is going on, it's going to cause trouble for you down there. So
I can't say something, Honor. The truth, the matter is, I've been down there. I've been to the clerk's office, done spoke with them, did everything that you have said right here and said and stated. If you familiar, you know Miss Baker down there at the juvenile courthouse at the clerk's office. We have spoke, and yes, she told me everything I have to do. And I'm taking the steps and the protocols because I'm doing this TPO out on her because she's the more aggressive one. It gonna sound good, but it's been going on for years. It's been going on years with her. It's just the fact of, you're right, I did accept my big sister to take my kids in, but not to be an aggressive one to me in the matters of the circumstances, and knowing that I'm not even able to see them through her right now because of how she act right now. And then it's nowhere that I can't have visitation with my kids where they can't come to my residence. It's nowhere that CPS is an order against me for my kids. I got the petitionary and the stimulation petition. I have all that, Your Honor.
which judge are you in front of?
Next week, we will be going to Terrence. It's a different judge.
Okay, put you back on mute. Ms. Martin and Ms. Martin only. You have a copy of the reunification / case plan. What has the court ordered you to do with the children right now?
Miss Judge, the court has pretty much just ordered me to be there, just be there for them.
Okay, so
just be there for them. Ashley does not have a plan to get kids back. They haven't given her a plan. They're not planning to give her a plan.
Ms. Martin, yes, they do. They don't just terminate rights. I know this. I know this because they don't.
Okay, Judge, I don't mean to interrupt you, but
Ms. Martin, listen. Here's how it goes. There's dependency. Then there's a case plan. Then there's a reunification plan. If you can't get through your reunification plan, then you go to parental termination. There are steps. This is by the code. So I'm telling you. So all I'm asking you is have you been in front of a judge, which you should have, because that's someone that signed something for placement, that said, okay, Ms. Ray, that said she gets these visits, or is that going to be addressed and other issues when you go back to juvenile? Yes or no?
No.
They haven't given, okay, so she's not there yet. Her case manager is gonna go tell you how you progress. Here's what y'all need to do. Yeah. First of all, y'all need to, put you back there. First of all, y'all need to get along.
Dominique wasn't even a part of that. Dominique wasn't even a part. I thought Dominique was part of that case. She wasn't even a part of that case. We got another Manning clip. Another Manning clip. I found this one at a Cowlitz.
Conditions on this one, and I will defer to the court on bail, though I will note he has a Vancouver warrant.
He does. Ms. Campbell.
No, I don't. There's no warrant. I already talked to the sheriff. The sheriff escorted me to Woodland.
Your Honor,
He would have arrested me. I would have never been in Woodland.
Mr. Pratty, I would remain silent at this point. I would ask the court to release Mr. Pratty on his personal recognizance. He does have a local mailing address and a Vancouver residential address.
Okay, bail's $1,000. Following conditions of release apply. Here for a pre-trial February 28th at 1 p.m. via Zoom, a readiness March 14th at 2 p.m. via Zoom, and a jury trial March 31st at 9 a.m. Have no criminal law violations or any change of address to the court clerk and your attorney. You must meet with your attorney before the pre-trial. If you do get out, you got to call them up right away because they book up really quick. You must complete an application for court-appointed attorney. We are showing that you do have a Vancouver warrant. Now, maybe it's been cleared since they haven't got it in the system, but I've written a number down on it. And if you do get out, you need to call them and get that warrant cleared before your pre-trial. If it's already been cleared, then that's fine. Okay, we'll send over the paperwork. I got all that written down for you so you can check them.
All right, let's go. Manning time.
And if children, Judge, I don't know crap. I obviously want them back.
If it's already,
the court is going to make you. Man, you can ignore her, but she has to do certain things to get her kids back. But right now, neither one of you need to talk to one another, think about these kids and move on. Period. Put these children first. Ms. Martin, you need to learn down there what she's supposed to do and what your part is. Because I promise you that judge down there is going to start giving her visitation. Sooner or later, she's going to get visitation. If it's, drug court, if it's drug rehab, alcoholism, just that she doesn't have housing and stuff like that. They do not just say she gets no visits automatically, period. Even if children have been abused, people get supervised visits at some point in time once they work a case plan. Now, I'm not here to teach juvenile law. I'm here to tell both of you to get along for the sake of these 5 children. Ms. Matthews, talk to your lawyer. Next time you go to court, you need to get her to have the judge make it clear in court what contact, if any, or when can you have it with your children. Because if that's true, Ms. Martin has the children, she is supposed to help facilitate that. But that's all, whatever. I haven't seen the order down there. Don't want to see the order down there. Y'all need to let juvenile court handle this. Y'all are 2 sisters. Y'all need to get along. Y'all have to be there for one another. Ms. Martin, something happens to you and you have kids, hopefully she would take care of your kids. Both of you, stay healthy and safe. Have a good weekend. I'm declining to put this in place. All right, here's my next case. Y'all can both leave the meeting. Ms. Martin, put your email in the chat.
It's in there.
Okay. All right, Mr. Lee and Ms. Pickens. So, Mr. Lee, who are your witnesses?
Viper Lieutenant, my sister, Nikita Lee.
Okay. And Ms. Dominique, do you have witnesses? Is that the other two people that are here?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna put all of you, the three of you in a break, in the waiting room. You can't hear the testimony, and I'll bring you on. LT, I'll bring you right back in shortly. Okay. Both of y'all raise your right hands. Y'all swear affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right, put your hands down. So, Mr. Lee, most recent event, work backwards, specifically about what Ms. Dominique has done to you that led you to file a petition for family violence. Start with the most recent event, sir. And hold on, I got yours pulled it up right now. 1 second.
Yeah, if you hear the volume, he's turn it up a little bit. The volume in her court was low because there was nothing I did because I wasn't even by the computer. This was just a recording. Maybe Manning wasn't close enough to the mic.
Did you get a copy of her? Well, you just filed the answer and counterpoint now. And he's got an, oh, okay, so you just filed an answer. All right. So start with the most recent event, Mr. Lee, and work backwards. And please tell me specifically.
Because if you could see, Dominique even said, I really can't hear you. So there was something wrong with Manning's mic.
Because it looks like, I think this says, sorry, like, I think it says 20th or the 22nd of January. I think that's the first date.
22nd, correct.
But if there's something that happened before that, please tell me what happened and exactly what she did to you. And if you have recordings, if you have text messages, anything like that, share your screen and show that to me, okay? But don't do the recordings like this other lady did and hold it up and play it. I can barely make out a word.
Okay.
Unless something's happened since the 22nd. If something else has happened, you can tell me that and then just work back.
Right. So I can keep this kind of just focused on 22nd, 23rd, 24th.
Okay.
And I think you said start. Do you want me to start on the 24th and go back, or the 22nd and go forward? I'm sorry.
Oh, start on the last event and work backwards. So it's 24th and start with
Okay. So on the 24th, after the incident, blow up and threats on the 22nd, on the 24th, my sister that is here as a witness, tried to have a conversation to see whether or not.
I'm sorry, I guess it's something happened on the 22nd. It may work better for you to tell me from the beginning than from the 22nd.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, no problem. All right, I can do just that. I can do just that. So on the 22nd, Dominique came home from work. I gave her a couple of options. One option was, here is what you can accept and receive if you want to stay in my home. And here's what you can accept and receive if you want to leave from my home. And I can go into the details of that or not, Judge, depending upon how much you want. However, so I presented.
Tell me what's that conversation that here's what you needed. I guess.
Yeah. So I have a wife that is disabled. She's in advanced stages of ALS.
Sorry, who's Miss Dominique to you?
She is my cousin.
Okay. Well, I'm very sorry to hear about your wife. I had a friend that had that, and it's excruciating, and that's so hard. So.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. I do.
Go
I do. And so the thought was, just to try to be concise as possible, was that she could benefit from staying in a great area, great school district for her son, and I would benefit from her being available to assist with my wife. And we just never, ever got aligned with that. The offer was, free room, free board, no utilities. I never offered her money. When she came, she have asked for money and continue to ask for higher and higher money. It's just never enough. So at any case, this was, okay, we're going to come to an agreement tonight. and or we're just going to sever ties in this relationship. And so I put the terms on the table to stay. I can share that with you if you like, and then the terms on the table for her to leave.
Sure.
You like those terms? Okay, so I offered her $16 an hour, 6 days a week at 6.6 hours per day, which is 39 hours, almost 40 hours a week, which is $2,500 a month, $30,000 a year. Now, judge, that $16 an hour is higher than the market rate of $13.29 per hour. So my view is generous. That amount is higher than she's making at the restaurant where I got her that job also, okay? So in my view, it seems very fair. Also, then the offer is that the rent in average 2-bedroom rent in Alpharetta is $2,200. I took 20% off of that. So that's a $440 discount to say, okay, your rent will be $1,700 a month. Okay. So that was the offer, right? Included, the utilities are included in that, no food in that. So I'm no longer buying your food. I'm no longer, driving you back and forth to work and your kid back and forth to events, et cetera. There's no medical coverage. There's no anything that goes along with that. So there's no advance pay. So the thought was, let's make this a very clear business arrangement so that we can stop talking about, I need more money, I need more money, I need more money. Okay. So when I presented this, I didn't get halfway through it, and I was told that this is an effing insult. $16 an hour. Okay. So, and cussing and all that started. So immediately I just pulled this one back from the table and said, okay, here's what you get if you go. All right. And I didn't get through that at all. All right. So I got up from the dining table, went to the kitchen, followed me into the kitchen. And Your Honor, I know you hear, bad language and bad behavior on a regular basis. I don't have that in my home. Okay. I don't have that.
Come live with you then, Mr. Lee.
Okay. I don't have it. All right. So this is the most vile language that you can come up with. All right. And so this is MFers, this is FU, this is, FU, MFer, I'm not doing shit, I'll kill you, I'll get rid of you, get rid of me, I'll get rid of you. And I don't even believe that she really even realizes what she's saying when she says these things. I really don't, because there's just no emotional control there, right? And that's that's very scary, not kind of scary. She physically cannot stop herself until she's too tired. She physically exhausts herself, and then she'll finally tire. Okay. So that night I called my sister and asked her, explain the situation, and asked her, could she stay in the home until all of this is resolved and I legally get her out of the house. And so my sister came right away. I think I just shared with you, she's a Viper lieutenant deputy. She took days off of work also to make certain that the threats don't materialize into something that's disastrous. Okay. So, she came for my protection, for my family protection, for my wife protection, etc. All right. So on the 23rd, my sister Nikita had a conversation with her to try to see if matters can be sorted out. She'll testify that she said, this is how people snap. This is how people get killed. Okay. My sister told her he's going to get law enforcement involved. She says, do what you have to do. I called her father in New York, explained the situation, asked him if he could come down. He says he don't want to come down because when she gets like that, he's afraid of what he would do to her. Okay. So he says, I'm sorry, I can't come down for that. All right. And I told him, I'm going to get law enforcement involved. He says, you got to do what you have to do. I called and talked with her daughter, who is here as a witness for her, and explained the situation. She cried because she felt terrible about what's happening and what her 13-year-old son is being exposed to. She says that, you know, I wrote it down. She says that she's not going to come, that I know my mother's unstable. I gave her to God long ago. Okay. And that she's not going to come down, even though she was off work that Tuesday and Wednesday. So there was no choice. You know, my conscience is clear because I felt like I did everything that I could, try to be up front. However, there's just a misunderstanding that there's some money pot that I have, and money grows on trees, and I can just sprinkle it around the world because I'm worth millions. So lastly, Judge, I'll share with you on the 23rd. I told you that, what she told my sister, the deputy. Also, she told my sister that it's kind of reverted now then to extorting money. She told my sister that I'm going to buy her all new furniture. I'm going to finish the basement downstairs and she'll have a kitchen. She can live down there. He's worth millions. He gets paid once a year. Can you imagine how much his bonus is? He's going to have to pay for all of it. She called my cousin Laverne in South Carolina. He's worth millions and I'm going to get what I can. What? I'm a long way from millions of dollars. So that's the situation. My sister's a witness. I have a rambling Facebook message, but I only have that on the text. I can email it to you if you like.
So that message, it looks like you put it in your petition, says, tomorrow's not promised, nothing is promised but life and death. So be careful on how you treat people because you will feel something.
The raft.
Okay, raft, sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's my bad handwriting. I'm sorry.
So that was directed to you?
That's definitely an implied threat. Okay.
So,
she's told other people in the family, well, I didn't put his name. Like, people aren't crazy. The family understands what's going on down here, right? They're very concerned, all of them, right? And, you know.
So, do you feel, hold on, my phone's ringing. I should hold myself in the camera. Let me see that. All right. Ring for someone in particular. But anyway, it was last. Okay. Anyway, do you feel in fear for your, so she was supposed to help with your wife, do you feel for your safety or the safety of your family?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's crystal clear. Yeah, I mean, you see this every day in the news.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, Ms. Dominique.
Thank you, Your Honor. I relocated. I received a call from Mr. Lee in April of last year. I resided in Richmond, Virginia. He's leaving out a lot of the details. First and foremost, I'm not a violent person. Secondly, he put in his petition that I have unknown crimes. I never committed a crime. He reached out to me for assistance. And I think where the lines got crossed is when he said expenses, that he would take care of myself and my son's expenses to relocate to assist him with his wife. I came, I broke my lease. I had to pay out to move. He paid for my rental. I have everything printed because I was removed, traumatized, and my son from the home because of these false allegations of me threatening him, which I never threatened. I never threatened him in a text, not to a family member, not to his sister. I have all of the payments. He said I'm trying to extort him. I never extorted him. I have every payment his wife sent me through Cash App for the services that I've done for him since I've been there. Okay, I have the agreement that he just read out to you. So the terms were So the verbal agreement was
Ms.
to
Dominique.
move here to
Ms. Dominique.
assist.
Ms. Dominique, so you're his cousin.
I cannot.
Are you his
Uh-huh.
cousin, his wife's cousin?
It's breaking up,
Ms.
freezing.
Dominique, are you his cousin or his wife's cousin? All right, Mr. Lee.
I'm his
Your cousin
I'm
or
his-
you? Okay.
She's my
We're-
cousin. Your
We're
Honor.
related. We're related.
Okay.
And
Our grandmothers are sisters, yes.
Okay. Ms. Dominique, so let me ask you a question. Were you having a hard time there and wanted to come down here so he was wanting to help you financially?
No, that's the thing, Your Honor. I'm confused
Having
as
a hard
well
time?
because
Hey,
no,
listen, and why did you take him up on the offer?
because he needed help with his wife. She has ALS, so he was relocating from North Carolina. He relocated from North Carolina here. I was living in Richmond, Virginia. He called me, asked me, it was misleading, first of all. He told me about his niece from his wife's side, how she came and assisted, and I thought that the niece was assisting the wife. But Your Honor, it's so disturbing on all levels that we're here wasting the court's time. My time has been wasted. I didn't need any assistance. I was very stable. I had a job working from home, and I was working for Virginia Medicaid, okay, working from home, assisting. My background is customer service, and I assist taking care of disabled. Before COVID, I worked with the elderly in a living facility. He reached out to me, and when he reached out to me, the first question that I asked him was, why did you reach out to me? And he said himself that he knew I could do the job because this is the type of work that I've done. I've never tried to extort him. I never threatened him. I moved in with all good faith that he was going to do his part in the verbal agreement. But what happened, what brought the altercation on, January, he went to the gym and hurt himself. He hurt his back. When he came in, his wife told me he hurt his back. So normally my job was I cooked, I cleaned, I washed his wife's clothes, I assisted her from moving her from the bed to the toilet, from the bed to the chair. I did her hair, I washed her, I cleaned up. Your Honor, I'm sorry for wasting your time. I am so distraught. The cops came to the premise. I did so much since August when I got here, and I feel like everything I've done was not appreciated. I lost across the board. I'm shocked that my cousin has brought these false allegations against me. The only thing I did wrong, Your Honor, I should have got it in writing from the beginning, but I've trusted his word. Now I'm displaced. My son is traumatized. I was traumatized. I'm 50 years old. I never would bring harm to my cousin or his wife. We were all good until that day I got home because I found out that he was using my son to move his wife. My son is a minor, and I have the text message. I can read what he said to you. What he said to me, I'm sorry. I said, please do not use my son because he's a minor. He told me my son is strong, that he could do the job when I thought I was being hired for the job, but they didn't want to pay me. And as he said earlier, he got me a job. So because I didn't have any wages, I accepted the job. When he hurt himself in January, he started texting me that I need to come home to assist his wife for lunch, to use the restroom before I left for work. I put her on the toilet. I got her dressed, brushed her teeth was brushed, compression side.
You're on mute, Miss Dominique.
I'm sorry, hello?
I'm here, go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor, I apologize first and foremost. And I never thought my cousin would have went as far as he done. I've given up my stability to come and assist. I've lost wages since I've been here. The way he's tried to pay me $100 per week, I washed her clothes. I cooked food for them every day. He ate. I made special meals for him because he doesn't eat certain things. I did so much to be humiliated. I don't even know, Your Honor. I just want to, I've never been in any trouble with the law. I'm a law abiding. My daughter tried to plead. I reached out to a family member just to get somebody to reason with him because I left Richmond, Virginia, and I have I have everything. I have.
All right, Miss Dominique, I muted you. Stop. All right, Mr. Lee, who's your next witness?
Nikita Lee, Fire Lieutenant. So, Your Honor, is it okay to make a statement or no?
I can't, let me I know, looks like
Okay.
LT's
Okay.
at work, so I got a whole bunch to do there.
Yep.
Lieutenant, can you take yourself off mute? You swear a firm testimony you're about to give is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So I think you were there one day when some sort of.
Yes, Judge Mannix. So let me just kind of briefly say, I have several concerns, and just to touch on a few briefly, I want to touch on her outbursts, her disrespect, her post on Facebook, and then the thread that was made when I went into her room. So as far as the outbursts, I know there was an incident where she was in my sister-in-law face, and I had the same conversation with the both of them. And my sister-in-law is disabled. She can't walk, but she kept putting it in her face, and my sister-in-law kept saying, "Get your finger out my face." So they had a spat about that. The day that I did go to Alpharetta, she didn't know that I was downstairs, and she was just screaming to the top of her lungs. She was telling her son to get out of her room. She's like, excuse me, I have to deal with your pussy ass cousin. So she came downstairs. She was kind of shocked to see me sitting downstairs. But excuse me, as far as disrespectful, it's just they don't speak. That's just disrespectful that you're in somebody's house. And after the entire ordeal, she told me she was going to apologize, but she never apologized. She just does things like she's out on the deck, she's loud. And my brother lives in a really nice neighborhood in Alpharetta, and that's just disrespectful that you're out there on the deck all loud. You come in the house, you smell like weed. That's just disrespectful to my brother. As far as the post on Facebook, she said things like, "Tomorrow is not promised. Be careful how you treat people, because you will feel the wrath one way or another. If you think you're getting away with anything, everything comes full circle and you will be corrected with me." And I had a conversation with her about that. I was like, "Why'd you put that on Facebook?" And she tried to downplay it. I was like, "But that was a threat." But the biggest threat was when I went to tell her, I said, "Well, my brother said he will pay for you a week in the hotel. He will pay for your first month rent, and he will pay for your deposit." And she just went off. She said, "This is how people get killed. You never know when somebody's gonna snap. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. He's gonna have to do what he have to do, and I'm gonna do what I have to do." So they need to remain separated. Just returning her to the house would just be a total, complete disaster because it's just not working anymore. It's not working.
Mr. Lee, is there anything you want to ask her specifically that she missed?
No, I think that sums it up well in terms of what she saw directly, for sure. Judge, I want to be as specific.
Hold on a second. Ms.
Okay.
Pickens, do you have anything you want to ask her? Specifically, Ms. Pickens. Go ahead.
Nikita Lee, so you saying when you were in the home, your brother was away for a whole week. I was disrespectful. I disrespected. Whose face was I pointing in? When did I point in somebody's face?
So you remember telling me that you and Ann had gotten into it, and Ann told me about this saying, "Oh, you don't remember now." Well,
Wait. I didn't say I don't remember.
No, don't argue. Let her respond, Ms. Dominic. You asked the question, so let her finish.
So when I had the conversation with you, you told me about the incident as well as Ann. And you were pointing, I don't know what y'all were fighting about or disagreeing, I should say, but you were pointing in her face and she kept saying, Dominic, get your finger out of my face. And finally, and you told me she called you a bitch because she said, bitch, get your finger out my face. And then that's when you did.
That's a lie. And you know that's a
Wait,
lie.
No. Question. You have another question for her?
Oh, you said that I disrespected your brother's home when I came at your brother's request.
Ask the question. You're telling her stuff. Ask her a question.
Oh, well, you know what, Your Honor, I don't have any more questions because it's all a lie.
Okay, stop. Thank you, LT. I know you need to get back to work. Thank you. Stay safe out there.
Thank you.
All right, who else, Mr. Lee?
That's all.
All right, there's a Shelby Moore and a Houghton. That's one of your witnesses, right?
Shelby Moore and Rohelia Horton. That's my daughter and that's my brother-in-law.
What is your daughter gonna know firsthand? Hold on. Ms. Moore, can you take yourself off mute? Raise your right hand, ma'am. Thank you. Do you swear affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, just go ahead and tell me what you know firsthand, not what your mom told you. What have you seen firsthand?
Okay, well, on January 21st, I spoke to both of them. My mom and him had a disagreement earlier that day because she was at work and like for a few days before that, she was leaving in the middle of the day to help him pick his wife up. Hello? Oh, to help him pick his wife up to use the restroom or something of that nature. That day on the 21st, when I had spoke to her, she was a little upset because I had spoke to her early in the day because she wasn't able this day to leave work. And I guess he asked my little brother to help, and she got upset with that and she said no. And so later on that day, now he calls me while I'm at work. And when I get off the train, I call him back. It must have been around 6 o'clock and 6 or 7 o'clock. And when I spoke to him, he told me, okay, well, now because my mom's at work and she can't come and help in the daytime, that he's trying to figure out a solution. So he offered her a contract.
Put that down. Go ahead. I'm listening. Put that down, Ms. Dominique. Go ahead.
So he offered her a contract. I got an email of the contract. And so she didn't want to sign it. So that's where all the mishap came in because he figured that that was going to be the solution. She didn't want to sign it because before she got there, they had a whole verbal agreement, which I don't agree with whatever verbal agreement they had because obviously it wasn't working because they both didn't understand it. He meant it one way, she took it another. And so the verbal agreement wasn't working out. That's the reason why she got the job in the first place, because she came down there to solely take care of his wife. So now when he gave her the agreement and she didn't want to sign, he got upset. So when he called me, he was telling me about what happened. And he said that that was his solution. You know, they were both a little upset and were having a disagreement. And then he was like, if she doesn't want to sign this agreement, then she's going to have to go. So I'm like, whoa, wait. when is she gonna have to go? And he's like, oh, I don't know. I'm asking her now. And I'm like, well, that's a little bit crazy to just be laying this on her now. Like, she has my brother out there, and all I kept telling him was about my brother. Like, you can't just rearrange everything right now. Like, he just got placed in school. And he even offered me that night, he was like, well, I'll get you a plane ticket to come out here and you can help your mom move her things out. And I'm like, but where's she gonna go? Like, just because y'all agreement isn't working out no more, she can't just get up and leave. So we spoke about it for about a whole hour. He calmed down and he agreed with me that he wouldn't force my mother out. And I spoke to him about my little brother. I'm like, look, he's seen enough. They moved all the way from Virginia for you. You can't do this. He told me that night that, okay, I'm gonna give her some time. We didn't set up an exact date that day of how many months that he would let her stay, but he told me he was gonna let her stay and he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do that to my little brother. After the conversation, I have text messages from him. And, he was like, thanks for the conversation. I just want to let you know that, everything is going to be good with your brother. So I thought everything was fine. And then 3 weeks go by and everything is fine. She's going to work. The only thing that was different was now them two weren't talking anymore. So they weren't talking no more. My mother would just go to work and come home. So now in my head, I'm thinking, okay, he's going to give her a little bit of time to get herself together, figure it out, because their agreement of her staying there and taking care of the wife is just not going well. Everybody, it's just no communication and what really was supposed to happen, how much she was supposed to get paid, what was going on. So I'm thinking, okay, everything is fine. She has a couple of months. She's going to figure it out. And that's going to be it. And then boom, he does this. So I really don't know. I don't know. And just to reiterate, before, when we had the conversation and he kept asking me, not that day, not only did he ask me, oh, since she doesn't want to agree, I'll give you a plane ticket or whatever. He also called my grandfather. So I told my mom, you need to call the police and make a police report and let them know what's going on, that he's trying to evict you out the home. So she called and she did that. But everything was fine after that. I thought everything was fine. He went on a business trip last week. My mother was still in the home. It was no threats. It was no confusion. So I'm not understanding how you felt threatened, but you left your wife and your kid with my mom.
That's my wife. My kids are out of the house.
Okay. All right, Ms. Moore, well, thank you so much. You can go ahead and leave the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Hold on. There's one more person that's in the waiting.
Yeah. So the question would be to
Let me
Shelby.
Let me hear from this person one more time.
You
Okay.
can't hear?
Um,
You got it? Okay.
There's one more person. Just let me do this.
Yep.
Sir, if you could take yourself off mute, raise your right hand. Mr. Halton?
Yes,
All right. You swear affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth.
yes.
All right. What is it you know firsthand, specifically that you've seen firsthand? And I really don't want to hear anything else about this deal from her moving from Virginia. I've heard that.
Well, I only had a brief conversation with Chris. After they had the altercation, I had gave him a phone call to see what was going on.
Who's Chris?
That's my middle name. That's
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, threw me off. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry about that. That's why I go by.
No, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
We just had a brief conversation on the telephone. I called him to see what was going on. He was telling me everything that's going on, but the facts about it, I had just called him to try to calm down things, and I had just come up with my opinion on my options, and I said, can we work it out anyway? And I said, well, is it a way where you can help her move into a new apartment? She don't have anything and family over there. So, we talked about something. He said, yes, I can help her get a U-Haul truck and I can help her get into a apartment. And then I had said, all right, that's fine. That will work out. I would reach out to her and see if that's feasible for her. And I told him it's going to take it's going to take some time for her to do it. She's not going to be able to just to do it for that. But I know she has to look for an apartment. Then I told him if he knows somebody that has an apartment, whatever it is, to just de-escalate the situation that was going on in the house. And that was a brief conversation that we had.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it.
All right.
All right, Mr. Lee, go ahead. No, I just wanted to get those people.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so I appreciate you doing that, Judge, because it's tough on the family, right? So, everything Ro just said is true, right? But what they don't, and what Shelby said is mostly true. But what they don't get is that what changed, right? Shelby told you, like, hey, we had a very productive, cordial conversation, right? However, she agreed, she disagreed, she didn't agree to come down because she understands how volatile the situation gets. So what they did not state to you, and that I think that you understand, is that the outburst and the emotion, the vile language and all of that is what changed. Okay, that's what changed. All right, when the offer was made to her from Roe, right, you can get him back, she didn't want it. She wanted more money. Okay, and so there's never enough. I want to be clear. We stated on, we sworn to tell the truth. I never offered her money. I offered her free room, board, so you can make your money. I work out of the home, Your Honor. I work out of the home. And so this would be an opportunity for her to, if you have no bills, if you don't have any utilities, no room, no board, I'm going to pay for the food and everything, you can get yourself ahead. So,
aside from the agreement y'all have, this is really about violence and being in fear for your safety. That's what
correct.
This is, aside from an agreement that went south between families.
Correct.
So all I care about is, are you in fear for your safety or your wife's safety because of the threat?
That's 100% yes.
Okay. Anything else from you, Mrs. Pickens?
Well, I know that I have the text message, and the day that the altercation took place, I texted him, I said, listen, and this is his wife's name, Ann, just told me that you had Makai shifting her going to the bathroom. And I asked him not to do it. His response is, I placed the belt on Ann, placed Makai hands on top of both rings, and asked him to use the grip that felt easier. He chooses not to use the belt. My son is 14 years old. He's a minor. He was never brought here to assist no one with nothing. Okay? I was assisting. Okay? And then when you went out and got me
to talk to him directly.
No, I'm talking to you.
Yeah, but when you went out, I didn't do it.
I'm sorry. When James Lee and we call him Chris. That's the name we call him by, okay? He decided to go out one day. We ordered food from the restaurant and he come back like, oh, I have good news. And we're like, what is the good news? Oh, I found you a job, Dominique, and I found somebody to do your eyebrows to his wife. I was insulted because I thought I was there to do a job. I cook for them every day. Like I said, I did a list to do this. He gave me a list. I have everything, Your Honor. I printed. I lost wages from work. I lost money with him. My bills are backed up. I was evicted with false allegations because he said I threatened him. I never once verbally threatened him. I never physically threatened him. I never destroyed any property in the home. I never touched anything. I came in, went, and then when we had the disagreement, I knew that, yeah, I'm going to have to leave because I don't want to be somewhere where I'm not wanted. Okay? Because I was always stable. I never reached out to him. He reached out to me. Okay? I have proof on everything. Whatever you need, I can submit.
Okay, so here's the thing. If, I mean, he feels threatened, there's been stuff posted there, there's things that you said, and then.
No, wait, I have the post. I have that post, and that's not true, Your Honor.
Okay, but.
That's not true. That's not true.
Mr. read it, Lieutenant read it.
That's.
So, I mean, it was a post, it's Facebook. That doesn't bother me as much as you said something to him, too, but you did that, but you've got this lady with Lou Gehrig's that you're yelling at her in her face, and your child is a minor. Let me tell you, Miss Phoenix Gaston works with me at night, and I think her kid is 14. Miss Reed, you saw him. He is huge. He is a big, big, big young man. So just because he's a minor, I mean, I'm okay. If he was strong enough to help, he's strong enough to help. I mean, there was nothing wrong if Mr. Lee needed help. However, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put this in place. And if you both place your email in the chats, we're going to send it to you. If you have anything else over at Mr. Lee and Mrs. Lee's house, you can return one time a form for us to pick it up. But this doesn't need to be going on. There doesn't need to be threats. Whatever deal y'all work out, that's between y'all. But it doesn't need the threats and any type of violence.
I never, Your Honor, I have the Facebook post. Can I read it to you? I never threatened them in no.
Both of them read it to me. Read it to me. I've made my decision, but read it to me.
They read part of the post. That's not
The
the
relevant
post.
part. That's the relevant part.
No, it's not the relevant part. I said, I learned a valuable lesson in the past few months. Take your time when making decisions, people, especially with family. People need you and act like you need them. I forgive me because what I know, mental health issues are so high. People are selfless and selfish. Never look down on someone unless you helping them or up, because tomorrow is not promised. Nothing is promised but life and death. So be careful what and how you treat people, because you will feel the wrath one way or another. I am a warrior and will always do things with an open heart and mind. I will stand my ground. I never pointed in Mrs. Lee's face. I never had her altercation with me was.
What you said you want to do was read the post.
Okay.
Read it.
Okay. So okay.
And you've read it.
Okay, I'm not finished. It's a long.
Finish
Can I ask you a
ma'am.
question, Your Honor?
I just want you to finish reading. Go ahead, finish reading.
Because I feel like I'm being biased. I feel like I'm being biased because I did not threaten anyone.
Ma'am, you know what?
Okay, I'm gonna finish.
Typically,
I will stand my ground because too many
in
people.
these TPO hearings think that I'm being biased. I'm listening to the facts.
I just was put out of my residence. I've been in his residence since August of 2022. This is not something that just took place. Okay, this is, I've been there since August.
Please
I
finish
am
the
displaced.
post. Finish reading the post, Ms.
Okay. I am part of the Most High. I am one with the Creator. So if you think you're hurting me, you already hurt. If you think you're getting away with anything, you're not. Okay? God bless. This is a curse that needs to be broke. Believe me, you will be corrected with me, because I fear no man or woman for that matter. Let's do better, and because life is short. I never threatened him. I read it to the police officer. They didn't think it was a threat. The two officers that served me, and he just wanted me off his property. I wanted to get off the property, but I came and gave up so much. I have to get my finances in order to go. And now you're going to put, like, I'm not a violent person. I've never had a violent. I know he put unknown crimes. I read the entire thing that he put out against me, Your Honor.
I'm listening.
Can I ask you, how would you feel
No, ma'am, you can't ask me any questions.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so once you place your emails in the chat, y'all can both go ahead and leave the meeting. Y'all stay healthy and safe. Have a good week.
Thank you.
iPhone 188, that is not your name. You have to change your screen name to something rather than iPhone 188. All right, when I call your name, you have to take yourself off mute, and when I call your name, take yourself off mute, please say here. If I tell you that yours has been reset, then it will be reset. Ms. Free will send you, of course, iPhone 188 is not listening. If I tell you it's been reset, Ms. Free is going to send you a reset notice in the sheriff's form. You need to get that back to Ms. Free before the end of the day. Right now, I need everybody on here to go to the chat and place their email in the chat. That is where Ms. Free will send any documentation that we have to send you is there. Place your emails in the chat. Place your emails in the chat. iPhone 188. I do not know why.
Okay, guys, I'm calling it a night. Got a little things to attend to at the home front. I'm going to be dropping a video tomorrow. I will see you guys. It's been a great night. God bless. Have a good weekend.